Oop, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. When I was little, I should write that because that's not at all clear. I looked at a good zglyak skpak. Hopefully I didn't butcher that explanation too horribly. Welcome YouTube. If you're joining us on YouTube, this is a fabulous opportunity for you to see us work on what we're calling a relex, a relexification of Toki Pona that basically ruins it in a fun way. If you haven't seen the previous videos where we set up the phonology and did our first text, we'll link the playlist in the description so you can see those. But if you haven't seen that, basically what we're doing is we're making a very un-Toki Pona looking Toki Pona looking version. We're going to use the same grammar. We're just sort of swapping out morpheme for morpheme or word for word the sounds of the language. So to give you an idea of what that sounds like, instead of Toki Pona, this language is called zglyak skpwak. So that maybe gives you a flavor of what we're going for. So in the first two episodes of this series, we worked on translating the Tower of Babel story, and now we are going to do another text to try and flesh out the vocabulary. And basically, what I want to do is keep going on this until we have a complete replacement for all of the morphemes of Toki Pona, and then I can write this all up and put it somewhere if anyone ever wants something to chuckle at into the wee hours of the morning, if that's the kind of thing you're into. So, without further ado, let's go into the side webcam mode. Wish we had a little sound effect for this because that would be kind of cool, but hey, at least we've got myself in the right corner this time, so that's progress. Okay, so so I'll just explain what's going on the screen here. On the right-hand side, we have the phonological inventory of this relexification. We have a 6-vowel system, which is a, e, I, o, u with schwa. We have a consonant inventory. It's not done up in a nice chart, but basically what we have is a 3-way distinction in stops. We have voiced, voiceless, and ejective. So that would be something like, see if I can do this reliably. Voiced, g, voiceless, k, and ejective, So that's the, that would be these three right there, g, k, And we also have a very cluster-heavy syllable structure. In fact, we have a constraint on morpheme structure where you can have two consonants plus a glide in the onset, and that cluster can be preceded optionally by an S, which will voice to a Z, a Z, if this cluster is voiced, and we can have one consonant in the coda. So to give you an example of what that looks like, we have this is kind of our maximal morpheme zglyak. So we have two consonants in the onset with this z in front of it. We have the glide y, and then we have a coda consonant k. And then we have another example, skpwak. That's a tough one for me, where we have the voiceless version of this this fricative that can go at the edge of the syllable. Skpwak. Something like that anyway. We have two stops here, the latter of which is ejective, and then we have a glide, vowel, and then a coda consonant as well. So that's the gist of it. We've fleshed out some of the vocabulary. So again, we have a bit of a real estate problem. There we go. I hope everyone can still see that well enough. We have the Toki Pona words in column A. We have the gloss in column B, which is just something to make our lives easier. It's not actually an exhaustive specification of the meaning. And then in our relex in let me try and say it again. What was it? Zgliak skpak. I find these labial ejectives very hard to do. And we have them in column C here. So, so we've got some of the vocabulary. I'll just sort of give you a brief tour. I see there's a question about P. We have translated that as we've relexed it as r. So voiced velar fricative followed by schwa. Okay, so as you can see that there are lots of morphemes we haven't relexed yet, so we need to get on that. That's part of our job today, and we're going to be using a selection from the first chapter of a translation of Le Petit Prince, which was done by, I believe, someone named Michael F. I want to say Michael F. And we're going to put the link in the description so you can find this translation. It is here it is. You can only get it through the Wayback Machine. It doesn't seem to be active anymore, but here's the translation. Jan Lawalili is the name in Toki Pona, and so we're going to go with this. It's true. It's absolutely true that the labial ejective is the rarer, or I don't know, it may even be the rarest of the places of articulation for ejectives. And I see Jan Temili is preparing an interesting explanation for us, so I look forward to reading that. But why don't we, while that's brewing, why don't we start on this text? So we're going to need to create new phonological shapes. I guess we're going to do this before we start on the text. We're going to need to create new phonological shapes. And what I've done is I've taken Lexifer. And Lexifer is a sort of a conlang word generator. And it's a nice one because it allows you to do all sorts of fun things. And so I'm going to, again, like a TV chef, I'm going to paste in something that I made before, which basically allows us to get the phonological shapes that we want for this language, so that we don't have to keep racking our brains for them. We can just select from a list. And so let's see if I can get this a little bit, maybe a little, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. A little bit better sized. Hopefully that's visible. I worry about these spindly little fonts showing up in the video. And so we can generate phonological forms like this, and basically we can just use these when we're stuck for inspiration. So I'll put this over here, and we will go over to our text, and we will begin. Okay, I'm going to catch up with some chat before we begin. Okay, so ABC is different from APBC in that P groups together the B and C, so that your P might go in between the B and C. Interesting. Oh, that's really cool, because often what you'll see, a pattern that you'll see cross-linguistically is a prefix, a proclitic. So this is something that is somewhere in between a separate word and an affix, a clitic that goes before the head. So something like if you have a case marker that goes before the noun, it'll often be a separate word. And if you have a case marker that goes after the noun, it'll often be a suffix. It'll often be fused to the word itself. And so if we take this kind of principle and apply it to Toki Pona, we can have, instead of having A, P, B, C, We can have A, B, P. I should write that because that's not at all clear when I say it out loud. So instead of having A, P, B, C, let's make this bigger so people can see. Instead of having this, we would have something like this. And this would reflect the same structure. I am very comfortable, Yantemili, with you sharing the link on the Toki Pona Discord server. I just hope no one thinks that I'm actually making any attempt to ruin it. It's purely clickbait. Yeah, more than welcome. Okay, so okay, what am I doing here? So let me just replace this with the actual phonology that we have. So r. Okay. All right. We're good. We're in. So yeah, if this comes up in this text, I think we should give this a try and see what happens. And away we go. So let's go over to our text, and I am going to give it a quick read, and I'll give the corresponding sentence in the English translation, and so we can sort of see where we are. And then we can do a gloss and add the morphemes we've already relexed, and then see what we can do from there. Okay, so I need like 5 monitors to do this, I realize. Okay, so we have Tempo pi lili mi lukin e sitelen pona. And I believe this is going to correspond to the English. Once when I was 6 years old, I saw a magnificent picture in a book. So let's gloss this. And how we're going to gloss this, we can use this little cheat sheet here. And that might be a bit small for the viewing audience. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so tempo or tempo, I don't know if there's homoorganic nasal assimilation. Time. So the way this is going to work is the first line is going to be the Toki Pona text. The second line is going to be the gloss. And then I'll put in I might need another line actually. I'm going to clear my throat 1 second. I think we're going to need another line so we can put in our skliak spwak. Oh, I think I got it that time. Okay, so, and P is being translated as of. Of course, we know, thanks to Yantemili, that it is a much more subtle thing than that. Lili, little. Time of little. Me, I believe, is the first person pronoun. Yes. So we can just put that as 1. And la, between the context phrase and the main phrase. So this is kind of like, I almost feel like this is kind of similar to a topic marker. I don't know if that's the best analysis for, oops, you cannot see that. I apologize. La. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to gloss this as a topic marker. Happy to change in glosses from and be corrected by those who know a great deal more than me. The really interesting thing about this, I'll just keep glossing here, is that before very much time, I'm actually starting to remember these. I'm starting to remember what these words mean. It's quite interesting. just through working through these texts. And I think conlang is a really fun. This is a bit of an aside, but conlang is a really fun thing to do to put together with language learning, because you can sort of almost reverse engineer a language in a way. I often like to do this with a posteriori conlanging. So if I want to learn a language in some language family, I will go back to the proto-language, derive my own version of my own language for that language family, and I'll come to a very good understanding of a lot of the grammar that's going on. So highly recommended if you're doing that. Okay, so this is something like look. This is our accusative marker. Sitelen, image, and Pona is good. Okay, so let me catch up on the chat here as well. At the time of my smallness, I look at a good picture. It's a context marker, as in regards to this thing, this is true. I mean, this is, I think, a good analysis of how topic markers work in say a language like Korean or Japanese. There could be some differences that I'm unaware of, but so it's something like with respect to, or as for the time that I was little, I was looking at a good image. Okay, so then we have a nice sentence here. We can then go over to our lexicon and see what we have already. So tempo we don't have. P we have r. So I'm going to put that in, but we may want to swap around the affixation order, the morpheme order rather, as we were just talking about. So something like putting it after Lili. Okay, then what else? Do we have anything for Lili? I don't think we do. No. We do have something for me. Woi. And I think we had a la. Oh, no, we don't. We don't have la? Oh, no, we do. We do. We have this suffix. And I glossed it as an adverbial, but now that I've heard this explanation, I think I would much rather gloss it as a topic marker. What is the difference between markers so marker is kind of a generic term. It's sort of agnostic as to in what way something is marked. It's just showing that some grammatical property is marked. A clitic is a word, is something that attaches not to a word like a suffix or a prefix would, but to a phrase. Or alternatively, it has a weaker link to the thing which it attaches to the point where it's ambiguous whether it attaches at all. So I'll give you an example. In English, we have a clitic for the possessive suffix, so apostrophe s. This is not an affix. This is a phrasal clitic. It attaches to the end of a phrase, not to an individual noun. And the sort of evidence for this is, so you can say something like, the Lord of the Manor's hat. And the hat does not belong to the manor. The hat belongs to the Lord of the Manor. And so you have this. There's more to say about clitics. they're part of the word from the point of view of certain parts of the phonology. So things like stress assignment, they act as if they're leaning on the word that they're next to, which is the origin of the word clitic. But they are also somewhat independent. So they're kind of in between separate words and affixes. Hopefully I didn't butcher that explanation too horribly. Okay, so we have this suffix here, and then we have woi again. I don't think we have anything for lukin. For a, we have this suffix. Yeah, the easiest way to think of a clitic is, halfway between an independent word and an affix. So the difference would be the difference between, say, you had a prefixal accusative marker and a proclitic accusative marker. The difference would be, so say we had an accusative marker in English, and it was a prefixal thing like, I don't know what it's just blah. So you could say, I saw cows, and you'd have something like, I saw blah cows, and blah is the accusative marker. But if it were a clitic, so it's ambiguous here whether it's a clitic or a prefix. But when we see something like, I saw blah green cows, then we know that it's not attaching to the noun cow. It's attaching to the phrase green cows. And so the fact that it sometimes is separate from the noun that it purports to modify means that it cannot be an affix to that noun because it is sometimes separate. And so often you will find cases where you get, when something precedes, and I alluded to this earlier, when something precedes, when say a case marker precedes the noun, it's often written as a separate word because you can get these effects where an adjective or a demonstrative or a numeral can intervene between the case marker and the noun, whereas if it's after, often there's nothing that comes after the noun, between the noun and this case marker, and so they merge together and are never heard apart, so they become considered a single word. When I say they're never heard apart, the accusative marker is never heard apart from a noun. So if we had, to take English as another example, say we had a suffixal or a postposed accusative marker. So I saw cows blah. I saw green cows blah. So you never see blah except when cows is in front of it or some other noun. So that tends to lend itself to an analysis where blah is actually part of the noun. The definition of a word is a lot more messy and ambiguous than our writing seems to suggest. So to a certain extent, the fact that we write this with a hyphen or with a space, these are somewhat arbitrary, but they can be informed by facts like this. Yeah, I hope that's somewhat interesting. Yes, so it also does depend on other facts about the language's typology. So if adjectives come after the noun, then you are not likely to have that same situation come up. So it all depends on how those other settings are set, essentially. What kind of thing happens. There's a really cool, someone worked on a big typological analysis of these phenomena, these exact phenomena, maybe about 20 years ago. The name, I believe, was Marie Julien. I want to say Julien 2000 is the citation. I could be wrong about that. I remember reading that and enjoying it a lot back in the day. I don't know if we can, if that's something that we can link to. If I can find it and it's available for people to look at, I'll definitely link to it. Okay, so halfway through the first sentence, right? But this is how it goes because cool things come up. Sitelen Pona. We do have something for Pona. Why didn't I write it down? This is the name of our text, of the language itself, which we can I'm never going to get used to that. Get us back to the vocabulary. Good. And so that's here. Okay, so we need to do a little work. We need to do a little word formation. So what are we going to do? We need something for tempo, lili, lukin, and sitelen. So where did I put that? Oh, here it is. So we have a bunch of words here. No, we need the size. So I'm going to just take some. If anyone has anything that they're really excited about, let me know, and we can definitely put it in. Yeah, the beatboxing brings you. See that? Maybe that's why we have. Maybe that's why we have adjectives to get people back, to bring people back to the conversation. So let's put zbuen for tempo, and maybe I think we need something less booba and more kiki for the word for little. So let's see if we can find something. Twiw will do. And looking, maybe something like zba. And for sitelen, this is image. And what can we put in? Maybe something like riach. This would make the whole sentence zbuen retwiw woim wezbas riach skpwa. Come on, skpwak. I might just do myself a favor and change this word at some point, but we'll see. I think there's some entertainment value in watching me suffer. So we'll keep it in for now. So the free translation: when I was little, I looked at a good image. What the heck? There we go. And we will not word wrap for this. Thank you very much. Super. Okay, so what else do we have to do? Ake se linea limoku e soe li suri. All right. We have some of these words I know. We don't have akesi. We don't have linea. Actually, I don't even think I have linea in the, did I miss it? Or am I just, oh, no. This was blocking it. Okay, so yeah, but we don't have a word for it, so great. Li we have. This is our gz suffix. Moku I don't think we have. Oops. E is our s suffix. Soeli, nothing. Suli, at least we have that. Ooh. So there we go. Okay, let's gloss. Boom. Akesi. Non-cute animal. That's an awesome gloss. So, animal, non-cute. Actually, no, we're linguists. Minus cute. Linea, a long and flexible thing. We can rope. Moku. Eat. Interesting. So have things evolved such that a non-cute animal is an outdated meaning? So the new meaning is just reptiles and amphibians? Okay. So I'll gloss it as reptile. Well, at least you got to see the cool minus cute notation. Reptile, rope. Oops. I'm mixing up my lines here. And then we have the, I think we just need to call this a predicate marker. And then this is our accusative. Soeli is, where is it? Here is it, animal. Big. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So free translation would be something like a snake was eating a big animal. I don't know if this is a big animal, any big animal, or an elephant, or if that's kind of like, oh no, we're not talking about the elephant yet, are we? We're just talking about an animal. Yeah, so a big animal. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, so this is a fact about the stream. We're using a kind of a multi-streaming service to go live on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So the single source of truth for the chat is what comes up on screen. And if you're on one platform or the other, you may not see in your chat the other people. Yeah, I don't know exactly any way around that, but that's why that's going on. Okay, so Akasi. So let's put some phonological shapes onto these things. Have a bit of fun. Have some laughs. Okay. Okay, so we need something appropriate for Akasi. Something that works for all reptiles, reptile-like creatures. I think we have an opportunity here. Maybe something like gnyek, or swee. Maybe swee. Okay, yeah, the syllable structure. It's a bit complicated. Let me bring it up here. So the syllable structure is not what you want to look at. You want to look at the morpheme structure because it's a bit more restrictive to allow for these, to allow for suffixal things to happen. So for the morpheme structure, we have two consonants, a glide, ya or wa, a vowel, and then a consonant. If you're going to have an adjective, it has to be this second consonant. That's the only place where we can have adjectives. I didn't write that down anywhere, but I think I mentioned it at some point, and I should probably write it down. And then optionally, you can have an S or a Z. Basically, what happens is it will assimilate in voicing to whatever the any following obstruent. So if you have a fricative or a stop after it, it will cause this S to turn into a Z if it's voiced, an S if it's voiceless. Yeah. Cursed phonotactics. Okay, so we have sui. Back to the vocabulary. We need some, oh no, back to the phonological shapes. We need linea, something for linea. Ba 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 ba. What are we gonna do? We could do something like onkid. And we actually have a uvular nasal here, which is generated by the assimilation rules. So linguini.org/whatever lexifer, that's what it's called, has some cool built-in rules so that when things that you often need, things like nasals will assimilate to a place of articulation of an adjacent obstruent, I think it is. So because we have our n before a uvular k, we get k. We get a uvular nasal, which you don't often see. And I'm not going to write that detail because that's predictable, but onkid. So sui onkids. Then we need something for eating. Stay limber. Gotta stay limber when you're conlanging. Few people know this. Okay. Oh, can I resist the temptation to use this word? Susiat. I don't think I can. But I think I want it for animal. Susiat. And maybe not everything has to be super intense. Maybe it can be something like for to eat. Okay, so I am seeing some stuff in the chat that we want to see the consonant inventory. Let's see. I don't know if I can actually send this in. Lucy, if you are free, I'm going to just send you some consonants. It's not letting me chat. So those are the consonants. If you wouldn't mind putting those in the chat, that would be fantastic. Many thanks. Okay, so I'm seeing some good phonological shapes that we're going to put in here. I'm just going to put them here so that when we need something, we got them. The only thing with this one is because of this unwritten rule that I've just put in, mainly because it makes my pronunciation life easier, the ejective has to be the last in the sequence of in a sequence of stops. And this is actually a constraint that you do see in natural languages as well. Okay. So we have a sentence. Sui kids siat ut. Make that properly uvular. Okay. Goodness gracious. Heavens to Betsy. All right, let's continue. I don't think we're going to be able to finish this by any stretch of the imagination because we went on too many tangents. And I still want to start with the grammar. So we'll do one more. We'll do one more sentence. And then... Okay, I'm going to put in all of these suggestions so that we can get back to them next time. Okay, so then let's finish it up. Let's go back to our vocabulary. And we have, oh, this is my least favorite word, debut. I don't know why. Oops. I don't know why I just really dislike this word for the demonstrative. So this or that. I don't know. It's a quirk. Maybe it's just a personality thing. I just don't like the butte. It is, yeah. Ni is so common, and we have this like really, really phonologically heavy thing. We might change it. I'm going to ponder that. It's something I'll as I'm drifting off to sleep, I'll just have this debut going around in my head. It's like, you know, and at some point I'll probably change it before this gets its final version. Ni li, and so li is our predicator. And sitelen is riach, riach, riach. How are we going to translate this? So if we make riach / sitelen into something verbal, would it be something like showed? Depicted, maybe. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Thoughts. You know, we have a resident expert, Yantemili, here, so I'm very eager to hear what you think. Is that a good translation for Nili Sitelen? It showed this. This showed, this depicted, something like that. Ni li sitelen. How would you translate that? It's going into a, this is the image. Okay, that's cool. Because it's going to, I think we would probably have been helped by this. Ni li sitelen. It shows us the image. Oh, perfect. Okay, super. Is Yantemili, is it possible? If so, in a different context, could it be translated "this depicts" or something like that? I'd be curious to know. Can you use sitelen in that way? Cool. Yeah, there is a colon, but there isn't a colon in my transcription, so oops. All right. I think we have to stop because we've got other things to go off to. I'll do the little YouTube outro, and we are going to need to be here. So thank you if you've watched this on YouTube. Thank you for joining and putting up with all of the attempts to make ejectives. It's truly appreciated. If you like this kind of thing and don't mind occasional things shaking for some reason, please do subscribe because there's going to be more coming.